Okay, well, happy Thursday morning to you all. I'm headed out for a long work commute day on the Super Cub today. I have a service call down in the Rocheron area, and I figured, why not just take the Cub, because the weather is absolutely beautiful out here today. It's fantastic. It only costs me, roughly 10 or 15 minutes extra time to take the Super Cub on the surface streets, Highway 6, versus, going on the highways, 249, all that. Time difference is pretty minimal. So I'll go down there. I've got the service call to do there. Probably take me, 2 or 3 hours today. And then I have to ride all the way back up to my office and warehouse in the Memorial City Mall area. So today's totals are going to be pretty high. I'm at 67.9. I'm debating whether I want to fill up the tank before I start this morning or just let this run out. Okay, good enough. All right, off we go. Highway 6 and let it run. I need to put a different little ram arm on here and crane that thing around at a different angle. It's a little too low, and this one loosened up over the cannonball run, so now it kind of droops. Every time I hit a bump, it droops further and further down, and I have it tightened as far as it will go. 9 o'clock in the morning. I was going to get out real early, crack of dawn, but then I thought, no, I don't want to deal with Highway 6 in morning rush hour. Thank you very little. Oop, I just dropped the bar. It's all right. I can get down there on what I have easily. It's 40 miles, and I know I've got at least 40 miles in here. Man, the weather is amazing this morning. It's a little humid still. Air temperature hasn't warmed up enough to reduce the relative humidity, but otherwise it feels great. A little breezy. You can see by the flags running. We got about 10 to 12 mile an hour winds kind of this direction. Well, these guys are seriously cautious, aren't they? 43 miles an hour. All right. Don't speed now. Yep, that's a little too slow for me. Sorry. Slowing down under 40 now. I don't think so. That's just going to cause me a problem with somebody barreling up my backside. And then now he's going to speed up to compete. No, you're little. You can't pass me. Yeah, really? Watch. Get off your phone, doofus. I've never understood that fascination with just needing to mess around with a cell phone while driving. I don't get it. I have no interest in doing that. If somebody calls me and I reach for it to answer a call, okay, sure. But like actively using it and messing around, texting, surfing the net, watching videos, whatever it is, TikTok, who cares? Put it down. There's a real difference in cagers versus motorcyclists, at least successful motorcyclists. I've talked about that many times in the past. Successful motorcyclists have a totally different situational awareness. You're a lot more tuned into what's going on around you, time to distance, upcoming threats, all kinds of things. We're just more tuned into it. And that translates into being a better driver when you're in a cage as well. It just makes you a little bit more cognizant of what's going on, what's going to happen. Overall situational awareness is just drastically heightened compared to typical cagers that are totally zoned out, totally oblivious. They're just daydreaming while they're driving. They're not paying attention. They're just kind of going along like the machine is doing everything for them. On a motorcycle, none of that's true. Yeah, it can be occasionally if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you zone out, but it's not a good idea. Not at all. Man, I've been out on a few of my road trips in the past and gotten real sleepy. Ended up dream riding, you know, literally dreaming on autopilot, and I'll snap out of it and realize, oh my God, I was just dreaming. What the hell? Dude, get off the bike. Get off the bike. What's wrong with you? Man, if this were Friday and I were headed down this direction, I would just throw my camping gear on the back of the bike and go all the way down to Matagorda. Camp out on the beach. It's gonna be a little chilly overnight, but daytime temps are supposed to be in the 70s. Little late fall beach camping. Of course, I don't know if I'd want to take this little cub out there on the dunes, out on the beach with these little tires. Probably had to take the trail cub for that. At least they've got Navis on it now. I'm not getting any spoken directions in my my headset here. I don't know why. It's really weird. My spoken directions over my headset, the first 1 second is audible, and then it fades out. Volume goes, can't hear anything. Yeah, I just cannot get the volume up on this thing. It says one word and then it mutes out. On the next, yeah, right there. It just said, take the next. Yeah, I'm presuming that's a right. Thank you. Continuing. I'm going to reset my headset, see if that fixes it. Nope, still doing the same thing. It's got to be the phone or the application. Continue on. Trying to keep my speed right around 47, 45, 47, because that's where the Navi settles in. One bar. Not flashing. Flashing means quarter tank left. Which, on any other motorcycle, that might be a lot, but quarter tank on the Cub is a quarter of a gallon. 1 gallon tank. Not doing very good with the lights today on Highway 6. Sometimes you can come through here and it's pretty much just green all the way through, but once you miss a couple of them, you're going to miss most of them. Stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. Stop. Yep, I just started flashing. At 90 miles. Yep, that's about right. So this will be a 115 mile tank here. 115, 120. I've been doing more highway run than I anticipated. Staying on the surface streets, it's around 130 to the gallon, but on the highway it drops to about 119. Still a whole lot better than the Navi can ever get. I need to look back on my stats. The highest I've ever gotten out of it, I think, was 83 or 86 or something like that, but it was a short tank, so it wasn't, you know, full empty, wasn't an accurate estimate. Okay, so I made it to a fuel stop. We're going to see how close it was. I was starting to sweat it a little bit. I was at 100 and I'll look at the trip in a minute. 119, 120 miles, something. It was pretty high. So I was running slow and hypermiling because I don't have any spare fuel in that, and I'm not carrying a fuel bottle. So let's see how close we got to dry. When I opened the fuel lid here, I saw just a little bit of slosh on the bottom, so it wasn't empty. It's getting close. Well, I just spilled it everywhere as I sneezed. I apologize for the brief intermission. You can see it all over the bike and the ground. Shot over there. I probably lost 1/10 of a gallon or something as I sneezed and jerked the handle to the left, and as I opened my eyes I saw fuel spilling everywhere. 0.92. Yeah, so I was I still had about 1/10 of a gallon in there. Not a lot, but that's just up over the top of the bar, minus all the stuff that I spilled everywhere. Now I got to look around for a whatchamajiggy paper towel. Soak up all my mess. And of course, no paper towels. Oh man. Oh man. Fuel stations never put that stuff out anymore. I don't understand. Fuel stations always used to have fully stocked everything. Not anymore. They don't do that. Oh well. C'est la vie. And of course, no fuel receipts. So we're going to do that. And let's see what the computer says. I wish I hadn't sprayed it everywhere, because now it's down the side of the bike and I've got nothing to clean it up, so I'm going to smell funny. You can even see it here. Hopefully, I got on my gloves too. Dang it. Got all over the place. To say, hopefully it didn't get my gloves, but yes, it did. 113.2 is what I had on the clicker here, so let's take a picture of that. Cool. All right. On the road. With my stinky gloves. Ew, yeah. Eau de petrol. Good stuff. So I had a little bit left in the tank, not a lot. Probably another 10 miles, maybe 15 miles. I screwed up the refill and didn't get an accurate total because the spillage I don't know why it's got me on Highway 288. I said avoid highways. Highway 6 is the route that I wanted to go, so maybe this leads over to Highway 6. We're going to find out. I'm presuming somehow this is winding me around to Highway 6. Well, this will be fun. Probably won't detect the bike. I could end up sitting here until I'm old and gray.
A few moments later.
And considering that's still flashing, I'm going to fake it. Oh, right as I hit the gas, I said fake it, and it turned green. It knew I was going to do it. I really have no clue where I am. Not a clue. So I'm on Kirby. It keeps saying Kirby Drive. I did not realize this was Kirby, as in, you know, Kirby that goes all the way through Houston. I didn't think that it extended this far down. First for me, man. I don't think I've ever taken some of the smaller surface streets all the way south into the Sugarland area before. Guys checking out the Cub. Ah, man, I still smell like fuel. I don't know if it's my glove or the bike or what. I was just thinking about my fuel exhaustion run that I did a long time ago and whether I've ever actually run the Cub completely out of gas before. I haven't. Even during the Cannonball run, I never ran this thing totally dry. I've gotten it down to where it sputtered a couple of times on fuel exhaustion runs, but even on the Cannonball, I never got that deep. My Cub had a little bit better range than Adrian's, just running a little more efficiently because of the plus-size front sprocket. So he was always running out of fuel before I was. I think the furthest I ever went was probably 90 miles, 95 miles maybe. So well within reserve range on this thing. The only time I've ever run it down to where it was sputtering and misbehaving was that first long road trip that I did on it going to COTA, Circuit of the Americas, up there in Austin. And I did an intentional, you know, fuel exhaustion run when I was out on whatever it was, 290, or it might have been 71. I'm going to slow it down. It just started cutting out there for a second. Yeah, there it is. It's sputtering. So I need to find a place to pull off. That's it. It's running out of juice. So at these crazy highway speeds, I'm going to stop here. Otherwise, I'm not going to have a place to stop. So at those highway speeds, it dropped down to 113-ish miles to the gallon. was still running, but it was going, hesitating. I just wanted to see how far it would go, and it got to 113 miles or something like that at full tilt before it sputtered out. So yeah, back to the thought. I've never had to push this thing. I don't really look forward to that. Never had to push it. I pushed the Navi a couple of times. And my son has pushed the Navi once because he didn't know about the fuel petcock reserve thing. You know, these youngsters don't know what carbureted bikes and fuel petcocks are. The silly thing about that one was not only did they have a reserve that would have kept him from pushing, but the little fuel tank was on the side. You know, my emergency fuel bottle was on there. So I think he walked it a mile or 2 miles or something like that to find a fuel station. Dopey. My push start adventure on it last week or a week before, whenever that was an interesting exercise. I had mistakenly assumed that if the battery was flat on this thing, you could, just jump it enough to get the key unlocked and turn the ignition on and then push start, but it did not want to run. I spent probably 10 minutes pushing it, jumping on it, and popping it into first gear. And it would turn the engine over. It wouldn't slide the tire. It was turning the engine, but it would not fire up. And it wasn't until I hooked up a battery to it that it fired. So I don't know if it's a difference in the fuel pump design on this one versus the CT125, or if it's something with the ignition system and the ECU. I don't really know. But the CT125, you can run it without a battery. This one, I was just looking at my mileage, 14,763 plus 6%, so that's a high 15,000s. Super Cub Adventures on Instagram and I think on Facebook too. He's got 2 or 3 Cubs, and one of them I know that he's got over 40,000 kilometers on it. Probably well beyond that now. I don't know what his highest mileage one is, but that guy toured all over Europe with his Cubs. It was pretty amazing. He's probably the mileage king for the newer model Super Cubs. I guess that's a good question. Who of you out there, anybody watching, if you have a Super Cub C125, one of the new versions since 2018, how many miles do you have? Or how many miles have you seen other people posting on theirs? Do you have any reports of anybody with super high mileage? Let's see who the mileage king is. I know it's not me. I know it's not me for sure, because I know that Super Cub Adventures has got, just probably 8 times what I've got. Now he's put 20 or 30,000 kilometers on one, over 40,000 kilometers on another, and then, as I recall, he's got 1 or 2 other Super Cubs. He's had like 2 or 3 of them, so I don't know. I'm sure he has got a huge total if you were to put them all together. But I'm curious to know what the longevity of this is, how high it could get. And that reminds me, there was one guy, he might be the mileage king, 444 on my Discord server, he said that somebody brought Super Cub into his shop that was just absolutely hammered. It had blown the motor after 80 or 90,000 miles. He finally punched a hole in the top of the piston, and it chewed up all sorts of stuff in the bottom end. It had slag down there that chewed up gears and bearings and who knows what. So I doubt that it was even salvageable, but I had asked him, let me know if that guy wants to sell that Cub. And it was a 2019, just like this. Let me know if he wants to sell that Cub even as is, because it might be fun to salvage it, refurbish it, whatever. But I never heard back. So, and he told me it was just absolutely beat to shit. It was torn up. He had been using it for deliveries. I guess, I don't know what kind of deliveries, whether it was, DoorDash or whatever, but it was just absolutely spent. And I'm sure if he had caught that before the motor detonated, you know, gave up, you just put a fresh piston and rings and, you know, do a little refurbishing on it and it'll be just fine. But once it hand grenades, you got all kinds of collateral damage down there in the lower end. At least he's got a shuffle. He's got a hustle. Dancing for some tips. I don't have any change, buddy, or I'd give you something. Yeah, I've become mostly plastic carry only. I don't carry any cash of any kind anymore. I probably should. That's a laugh. I don't know if you guys can see it over the top of this VW in front of me. A bicycle route sign. Man, such a joke here in Houston. You know, bicycle routes. You ride a bicycle on these streets and you're just begging to get run over. Hey, another bike. New bike. Got a paper plate on the back. Thanks. 400. Nice. How do you like it?
I'm used to a leader bike, but this is pretty fun to toss around, you know?
Yeah, it's more efficient for sure than a big bike. Cool, man. He said he's used to leader bikes. Oh, man. Oh, I need some food. Hungry. Did not eat breakfast this morning. Had 4 cups of coffee, 1 cup at home and 3 at the client site. I don't miss this neighborhood though, not at all. I used to be over here in this area all the time. I lived just about 3 miles, 4 miles over to the east, right at 610 in Richmond, in the Afton Oaks neighborhood. Hey, nice turn. Buffoons. And that's why I don't miss this neighborhood, man. A convertible Bentley. Okay, well, I have arrived. Okay. Hey, I got another box. What do you know? Probably another Kimimoto. I got 2 of the Kimimoto things already. I got the panniers, the tail tidy, and these are probably the gloves. So I need to get to doing those reviews here pretty soon. Anyway, I will catch up with you all later for the return commute. All right. Well, mission's accomplished. I'm going to head home a little bit early. I don't think we have any rain in the forecast, but it's starting to cloud up pretty good. We definitely have it coming in tomorrow, so I've got to knock off a little early today because there's a international night celebration at my youngest daughter's elementary school. It's going to be at 5 or something like that. It's like 3:30 right now, so need to get home, get cleaned up, and try not to be late for that. So off I go. The fill-up that I did earlier, I didn't reset my trip meter. That way I could just do easy deduction from where I started this morning. 52, 59, whatever it was. So I'll throw it up here. So Saturday is my birthday. Number 52 so far. And my buddy over here at the office was saying that he wanted to take me out for lunch tomorrow. So I'm going to swing by here in the morning, do a little bit of work at the warehouse, and then come over here to meet with him for lunch. And I think I'm going to go to that Texas Taste, whatever it is, the Texas something, the little restaurant back there on the corner. I've never been over there for their free beer Friday, so maybe that's the opportunity. I'll just have him come pick me up at the warehouse and go over there and eat lunch and have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 beers, however many, and have him drop me back off at the warehouse. That way I'm not drinking and riding or driving. It's supposed to be rainy and crappy tomorrow, so I'll be in one of the cars. Or not. I don't think so.
A few moments later.
No, you're not going to go, I'll go. It's always easy to find somebody sleeping. The guy just now started moving. 4-second reaction delay. That's pretty bad, dude. On the cell phone, most certainly. All right. Home again, home again. Much earlier than the last couple days. Have to total up my miles here and see what it looks like. 158.3 on the trip so far. Did about 153.5 when I pull up to my driveway, plus 6.25%. But yeah, we'll figure out the miles here and then throw it into a calculator and figure out what my rough cost was to do that based on my miles per gallon when I filled up earlier. I've probably gotten a little bit better fuel economy this time than I did on the previous tank because I've had less highway. So anyway, 158.5 at the driveway, and I'll catch you for the next one.